Welcome to this detailed explanation. I'm truly excited that you're here today because we're about to begin what I consider a very precise and extremely important financial rescue journey. Listen, if you have a pension, I need you to focus closely and hear this carefully. Almost everything you've come across in traditional retirement books is simply incorrect for your situation. Yes, even the popular 4% rule, common withdrawal strategies, and general tax guidance were never created with you in mind. If you receive a pension, the IRS actually handles your finances very differently compared to other retirees across America. Your situation is not the same as someone relying on a 401k. It's also not the same as someone barely getting by on Social Security alone. And honestly, very few people out there, including many professional accountants, truly understand what this means for your tax situation. So today, we are going to completely break down the illusion surrounding pension taxation. To understand why there is so much misleading advice, you only need to look at the statistics. Only about 14% of private sector workers today still have access to a true traditional pension. Now compare that to the public sector, where roughly 86% of state and local government employees still receive one. So if you're watching this explanation and you either have a pension on the way or you're already collecting one, you belong to a very small, very specific, and often misunderstood group. You are rare. The financial industry doesn't typically design mainstream advice for a 14% minority because there simply isn't enough incentive for them to mass produce specialized guidance. But today, we're discarding that generic approach and focusing on real practical numbers. All right, let's get started. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll go through number 1, the reality of pension taxes. Number 2, the Social Security complication. Number 3, RMDs and Roth conversion strategies. Number 4, hidden Medicare surcharges. Number 5, the lump sum versus monthly payment decision. And finally, number 6, your updated retirement framework. Let's jump right in. First, trap number 1, the reality of pension taxation and why your location plays a crucial role. One of the biggest misconceptions people have is believing that their pension income will be completely or mostly tax-free simply because they contributed to it during their working years. Let's clear that up right now. For the majority of employer-funded pensions, every single dollar you receive during retirement is taxed as ordinary income at your federal marginal tax rate. It does not benefit from favorable capital gains tax rates. It is taxed exactly the same way your salary was taxed while you were working. And here's where it becomes even more significant. Your location matters more for pension holders than for almost anyone else. Different states treat pension income in very different ways. For example, if you live in Pennsylvania, Illinois, or Mississippi, your pension income is not taxed at all, 0%. States like Florida and Texas also have no income tax at all, so you're safe there as well. But then you have states like New York, where only the first $20,000 is exempt, and only if you are over 59 and a half years old. Everything beyond that is fully taxed. And then there's California, where pension income is taxed at the state's normal rates, which can go as high as 9.3%. Let's put that into perspective. If you receive a $40,000 annual pension, living in California instead of Pennsylvania could cost you around $3,700 extra every year. Over a 25-year retirement period, that adds up to about $90,000. That's $90,000 lost for the exact same lifestyle and the exact same pension simply because of where you live. Now this leads us to the next major concern, and I want to ask you directly, did you know that your fixed pension could be quietly pushing your Social Security benefits into the 85% taxable range? Most people have no idea this is happening. It's a hidden snowball effect that gradually reduces the value of the benefits you spent your entire life building. Let's break down how the IRS calculates this. This brings us to trap number 2, the Social Security taxation issue and crossing those thresholds. Having a pension permanently changes how your Social Security is taxed, especially when compared to someone who only has a 401k. The IRS uses a specific and fairly strict formula known as provisional income. Provisional income includes your adjusted gross income, any tax-exempt interest you may have, plus exactly 50% of your Social Security benefits. This is the formula the IRS uses to determine how much of your benefits are taxable. Now here's the part that almost nobody warns you about. Your pension income is fully included in this calculation. Every single dollar counts. There are no exemptions or special adjustments. It all goes into the formula. And here's something even more surprising. These thresholds were established back in the 1980s and 1990s and have never been adjusted for inflation. Not once. So if you are married and filing jointly and your provisional income exceeds just $44,000, up to 85% of your Social Security becomes taxable. Because your pension adds income before you even withdraw anything from your IRA, pension holders are almost guaranteed to fall into this high taxation zone. Let's look at a simple example. If you receive a $30,000 pension and $24,000 in Social Security benefits, your provisional income immediately starts at $42,000. Think about that. You haven't even touched your savings or investments yet, and you're already facing significant taxation on your benefits. Someone without a pension can reduce their IRA withdrawals to stay below this threshold, but with a fixed pension, you don't have that flexibility. Your income is constant, and you can't turn it off. Now moving forward, let's examine trap number 3, RMDs and Roth conversions, particularly the missing gap years. This is where things start to shift from traditional advice. Many retirement experts suggest doing Roth conversions during low-income years early in retirement. But for pension holders, those low-income years don't really exist. The moment you retire, your pension begins, and your income level stays elevated. That means you are essentially locked into a higher effective tax bracket from the start. So you might ask, why even consider a Roth conversion? The answer lies in avoiding future tax problems. Once you reach age 73, required minimum distributions, or RMDs, begin. The IRS requires you to withdraw a certain percentage from your traditional IRA every year. You don't have a choice. These withdrawals are added on top of your pension and Social Security income. For example, if you have a $400,000 IRA, you may need to withdraw around $15,000 at age 73. By age 80, that could increase to $25,000, and by age 90, it could exceed 12% of your total account balance. Suddenly, you may find yourself reporting $60,000 to $70,000 in taxable income, whether you need that money or not. So for pension holders, Roth conversions are not about taking advantage of low tax rates today. They are about paying a known rate now to reduce the impact of much larger, forced withdrawals later in life. Now let's move to trap number 4, hidden Medicare surcharges, also known as IRMA. When you start making proactive tax decisions like Roth conversions, you need to be aware of these hidden thresholds. IRMA stands for Income-Related Monthly Adjustment Amount. It's essentially an additional Medicare cost that applies when your income exceeds certain limits. For example, if a married couple files jointly and their income goes above approximately $218,000, their Medicare Part B premiums can increase dramatically. A standard monthly premium of around $230 could jump to over $600 per person. Because your pension already creates a high base income, even a routine Roth conversion could push you into this higher bracket. What makes this even more challenging is the 2-year look-back rule. If you perform a Roth conversion in 2026, the IRS reviews that income in 2027, and then your Medicare premiums increase in 2028. This delay often catches retirees by surprise. Every financial decision you make must consider both your tax bracket and your Medicare thresholds at the same time. Next, let's discuss trap number 5, the lump sum versus monthly payment decision and the importance of tax flexibility. This is likely one of the most important and irreversible decisions you will ever face as a pension holder. Most people treat it purely as an investment question, asking whether they can earn a better return by investing a lump sum. But the real issue is flexibility. If you choose the monthly payment, you gain predictable income and peace of mind, but you lose all control over taxation. That income is fixed and fully taxable every year. On the other hand, if you take a lump sum and roll it into an IRA, you gain full control over when and how you withdraw funds. You can manage your tax exposure, adjust your provisional income, and plan around Medicare thresholds. However, you also take on investment risk and the challenge of making your savings last. There is also a third option that many people overlook. Some pension plans allow a combination of both, a partial lump sum and a reduced monthly payment. This hybrid option can provide a balance between security and flexibility. You should always check with your plan administrator to see if this option is available. Finally, we arrive at Section 6, your updated retirement framework and asset liability matching. Now that we've covered the risks, let's focus on the solution. Instead of relying on outdated rules like the 4% guideline, you should align your essential expenses, such as housing, food, utilities, and basic insurance, with your guaranteed income sources, which are your pension and Social Security. If those sources fully cover your core expenses, it completely changes your financial strategy. Your retirement accounts, such as your 401k or IRA, are no longer required for daily living. Instead, they become funds for discretionary spending, such as travel, major purchases, or leaving an inheritance. Your pension becomes your primary safety net. This shift allows you to rethink your investment strategy. Traditional advice often suggests a conservative mix like 60% stocks and 40% bonds. But as a pension holder, your pension already acts like a stable bond component. This means you can afford to take more risk with your investments. For example, consider a couple aged 66 with annual expenses of $68,000 and guaranteed income of $76,000 from pensions and Social Security. They already have an $8,000 surplus before touching their $450,000 401k. Because their essential needs are covered, they can choose a more growth-oriented portfolio, such as 80% stocks and 20% bonds. Even if the market declines, their basic lifestyle remains secure. However, there is an important warning regarding survivor benefits. Choosing a single life payout may provide higher income initially, but it can create serious financial challenges for a surviving spouse. Household expenses don't decrease significantly after one spouse passes away, but income can drop sharply. A joint survivor option provides essential protection during those vulnerable years. Lastly, we need to address inflation. Many pensions do not include cost of living adjustments, which means their value decreases over time. A $36,000 pension today may feel significantly smaller in 10 or 20 years due to rising costs. This is why maintaining a growth-oriented investment strategy is so important. It helps offset inflation and ensures your financial stability in later years. So now we end with one critical question. Will you allow taxes and inflation to quietly reduce your pension, or will you take control of your financial future? The biggest mistake you can make is doing nothing and assuming everything will work out on its own. The IRS will not inform you if you are overpaying. Your next step is to fully understand your options, including lump sum choices, and work with a qualified financial planner who specializes in pension strategies. Focus on long-term planning, not just short-term decisions. A pension can be a powerful financial advantage, but only if you manage it properly. Thank you for being here and going through this in-depth explanation, and I'll see you in the next one.